I'm so excited um, to have you here today. I'm Alvin. If anybody doesn't know, I'm Alvin. I'm a local realtor. And we're going to dive into a topic that's super important that's often overlooked. So it's financial awareness, especially when it comes to real estate. So joining me today is Maddie. She's an expert in finance. Maddie, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, everyone. So I'm Maddie Dewet. I work with Northwestern Mutual as my overhanging broker. And I've been in the business world for a long time now. Had some real estate background as an admin, some corporate background in sales, and then have come back to launch my financial practice. So um, yes, I also own my own investment property. So bought that at 25. So
Woo!
um, I'm happy to share a little bit about both general concepts and knowledge, and as well as my experience with how to plan early and how to have those conversations ahead of time so that you're in a position later on where you have more options.
I love that. So anyone that's viewing, definitely stick around. This is going to be a fun and valuable chat, and a lot of tips that's going to help with finances and homeownership with your homeownership journey. So, all
Mhm.
right, so let's dive in. So let's start with the basics. Why is understanding finance important for homeownership or anyone that's looking to buy?
It's a great question. So there's two schools of thought here.
Hmm.
I would say some people lead with, I want to pay down debt, I want to get into a home, I want to build some
Hmm.
equity. It's like the Dave Ramsey theory on finance, and then you have this other opportunity to look at diversification, education, and working with local professionals to more so understand the market and what that looks like. So
Hmm.
when you go to purchase a home, it's so important that you have a team behind you. I like to call that your financial board of directors. So, having a lender in
Yes.
place, having relationships with a realtor, those are the two most obvious pieces. But something people don't think about is having your financial planner attuned to that. Because in your financial board of directors, you want to have someone from each area who has your best interest in mind. So, a financial planner knows your entire picture. The lender knows how that factors into the home purchasing process, and your realtor makes sure that you're well represented throughout the transaction and that you're getting what you want. In addition to this, estate planning attorneys are key to have, and CPAs. So that is where Alfin and I do a great job working together, making sure that we're building out a board of directors rather than it being that one-on-one relationship. Um, and backing up, tying it back to what you said about why is finance in general important? I think fundamental steps look like we want to make sure that you're in a saving and set a budget, follow a budget. But I am a big believer in being accountable to where our money flows. And that's the step one, is making sure
Hmm.
you're able to afford that down payment and those closing costs. So working with a financial professional that can help you um, game plan what that looks like around a savings goal. Typically you work with a lender there, and then you take that back to your financial planner and say, okay, how do we pull these levers to get me where I need to be?
Well said. Well said. I love all that. So, okay, what's one common mistake you see people make when it comes to, choosing insurance or an investment?
I would say a mistake or a barrier that I see is usually a limiting belief around timeline. People have this idea that I'll think about buying a house when the market's cheaper or when interest rates drop. Similarly,
Yeah.
people push off thinking about retirement until you're in
Hmm.
those crucial years where it becomes catch up instead of planning. And I think being strategic and having, a chess versus checkers mindset
Mhm.
for your financial wellness, um, really sets the tone for later in life. You know, what if you have a vision of building through property, it's still important to make sure that we're diversifying into tax deferred opportunities as well as investment accounts, like you said. So, mistake I see is waiting. It's hard to create a sense of urgency in our area because I find that it's very emotional to talk about money. It's very emotional to purchase a house.
Yep.
And having if you didn't grow up with a background in either of that and you're not used to working with professionals like that, it can be a barrier to enter the market. But I would say the biggest mistake anyone can make is taking no action.
100%. And I think it comes with fear, right? Fear,
Mhm.
and not knowing, and education, like you said. So I love that we're able to chat right now and be able to provide this value to people, because the best time was yesterday, and then the next best time is now, right? So
Mhm.
education, creating awareness is key into planning your future. So I love that. Thank you. Okay, so Maddie, let's switch gears a bit. So for those who are considering real estate, how can insurance play a role?
So, insurance can play a role in multiple ways. There's two
Mhm.
big kinds of insurance out there. There's term, when you think within the context of life insurance, there's
Yep.
term and there's permanent. And the biggest difference we see in general, I'm going to speak in generalities, not Northwestern Mutual specific, so I don't get in
Yeah.
trouble. But in generalities, term insurance, you're typically renting. You pay in for the certain amount of time that you have the policy active, and that cash is gone. If you live past that date, sorry. With permanent life insurance, you have an opportunity to build cash value. It is a long winded answer, but you're able to build cash value over time, which you can then use as a lever to pull later if you need to borrow against it to
Hmm.
afford that first house, to afford the upgrades on the house. Um, and post buying a home, I want to make sure that that stays in your possession. So
Yeah.
if something horrible was to happen to you and you're married, you know, you've got kids and something happens to Alphen, let we say I we say to let's say you've got some debt that you need to cover
Hmm.
and then the mortgage, all the expenses add up to the point where, you know, we're in a position where letting go of your biggest asset um, might be unavoidable. And insurance is what closes that gap so that if we lost your income, God forbid, lost you,
Yeah.
there's an opportunity for your family to recover and stay stable. My biggest motivation is to make sure that people feel safe and that you don't once you hit a new level of net worth and stability, how do we prevent you from backsliding? And one of the tools around that is insurance.
Yes. And I feel like that's the biggest gap in a lot of communities, and a lot of because I'm Filipino, and I feel
Mhm.
like even within my family there's a gap with knowledge in that, right? And people not really understanding the high importance of being insured, right? And protecting, and also leaving generational wealth if anything is to
Mhm.
happen. So I love that you touched that, because it's highly important in every stage of your life. How are you going to protect your asset, or even like, you know protect your family if your income
Right?
is gone, right? So thank you, I love
Absolutely.
that.
And
So
and to
okay.
expand on that, real quick, to expand on that, I think the
Yeah.
commentary about um, you know, making sure that your family's still in a safe position. And
Mm-hmm.
um, I, I look at life insurance as a guard for your partner to process grief. There's when you lose someone important to you, you don't want to get up and go to work the next day. You probably don't want to go to work for the
Yes,
next three
you're
months.
right.
So
Yeah.
so when you've taken those steps through insurance, It gives your loved ones an opportunity to grieve peacefully without the external stressors of life.
And I love that you bring that up because that's true. 100%. Who wants to get up to and go to work in a week or two, three, You want that time for
Mhm.
yourself. You want to heal. And in order to do that without having that stress or burden of life is to be, protected. So thank you. Thank you for adding that too. Okay, so as far as tips, what are some practical steps that people can do today to make sure they're financially, ready for real estate?
That's a great question. So I'll answer this from my personal perspective.
Okay.
Um, I met with a lender 5 years before I bought a house. So I
So
believe
you're 20
that if
years
you
old.
have a goal, when I was 20 years old, I met with a
Wow.
lender and I didn't purchase until 25. But the information and education I got from that initial meeting helped me diversify around my debt to income ratio, diversify around what kind of credit cards I was using, what kind of debt I had, um, to to help me build a pathway and to get a real grasp on what is that nest egg I actually need to buy a house, because so many numbers get
Hmm.
thrown around. There's different types of loans, there's different ways to do it. And it's really important to give yourself the opportunity to build that path. So having having a strong relationship early on with some form of professional opens doors for you. Um, Tips I would say: leverage professionals. Make sure that you are having conversations early. Um, Leverage a planner to understand the basics of literacy and budgeting, and get a good concept of what does your personal P&L look like. What do I have in assets, liabilities, expenses, income? How does that all work together? um, and I have found with clients over and over that there's this feeling of, I don't know where my money went. And
Yeah.
we spend as much going out as what comes in. And the only way to break that cycle, I think, is to take a look at your money consistently. Personally, this is not an affiliated product, but I love Rocket Money. It's something that I refer far and wide because
I'm gonna have to take
another one I've
notes.
heard is Clover. I've heard Clover is good as well.
Oh, Clover.
Um, yeah, so it's personal preference. I would say definitely do your due diligence around what kind of app you'd want to use. But I do recommend that baseline financial security starts with your own buy-in, buying into the idea that you want to be somewhere else than where you are today. And that
Mm-hmm.
means it's the same with weight loss. You have to be accountable to the calories going in and the calories going out.
Yes.
It's being accountable to, what is going. So using some kind of tool that we have on our smartphone, which we're already on all day, you link your bank accounts, and then whether it's once a day, once a
Clover and Rock.
week, takes you 5 minutes while you're in the restroom, you sort your transactions. And it gives you just a baseline idea of where that money's going, so that you can continue to build a dedicated savings to go towards your property purchase.
Maddie, I love all that. And I love how you referenced financial awareness, kind of like with your fitness goals. If you want to get fit, what do? You track. If you want to, look at your finances and move forward, you track. And I love that you gave that. So I took some notes.
Did
I'm
you?
like, okay,
Good.
let me check. I'm like, let me check this out. You are 100% right. You have to always keep an eye on your finance, where it goes, and how you can. And another thing you
Mhm.
said was leverage. So, leveraging, because you can work smart, not hard, right? And if you are planning ahead of time and you're leveraging
Mhm.
professionals, you can definitely make better decisions later in the future when you're ready or whatnot. So, thank you for that. Thank you for sharing your personal experience as well. I feel like that's definitely a game
Absolutely.
changer.
And I think that a lot of us in these industries who go into being service
Mm-hmm.
professionals are here because we want to help. We want to provide resources. It's not transaction focused, it's relationship focused. So I think that the more we can share with people that it's a value proposition first and a cost second is is a mindset shift that I think more people would take advantage of the opportunity to meet. And from there, like you said, it just opens up way more options for them. And I'm all about being option oriented. I like to approach everything as a pros and cons analysis of what is my next move, and having that conversation with a planner. Like, we look at 1 to 3 years, we look at 4 to 6 years, 10 years, retirement. What feel? Who do you want to be?
Mm-hmm.
The only way to do that is to manifest it and have the conversation and get it on paper. And your financial planner should be hand in hand with you like a coach, making sure that you're taking the right
Yes.
steps to get there.
Oh, I love that. I love that so much. Okay, so Maddie, before we wrap up, what's the one piece of financial advice you think everyone should hear or should know?
Everyone should know.
Yeah, or should hear.
Oh, it cut out. Okay,
Same
a
thing.
piece of financial advice everyone should hear. It's a great question. It's a great question. Blanketing it across the board. It's
Yes.
I said it before, I'll say it again. It's accountability and um, connection to your financial health, because it is a faucet of wellness in our society. I mean, we see the disruptions in the economy, we see the disruptions in social issues, and if you're able to build yourself a baseline financially where you operate within a routine or a system, it becomes
Mm-hmm.
second nature. And in a key phrase, I would say pay yourself first. If you're a W 2 employee, you get paid, you pay Social Security, state income tax, if that's part of it, other withholdings, your 401k. Um, but post tax, we don't really have conversations around how can I
Mm-hmm.
make my money work even more effectively. And
Yeah.
there's different kinds of accounts out there and different products out there that leverage post tax income where you don't have to pay gains at the end. And a lot of people
Oh,
don't know about the power of diversifying pre and post tax. And I say, once you get your paycheck, you've got one more person to pay out to before you really have your money.
yourself.
And it's
Mm.
yourself. It's yourself.
Ooh, that was yes, yes. Thank you so much, Maddie. That was amazing. I love that. So much value, right, with what you just said, because a lot of people just don't even think about that. Honestly,
Yeah. And it's not
I've
their
talked.
fault.
Yeah, and this is why we have you. This is why we have people. That's why we're here, to bring out this awareness so people can know about these things. So, if anyone watching this and you find value and you want to share this with anyone, hit that like button, comment below if you have any questions for Maddie or myself. We'll be happy to answer in the comments, and share if you guys find this valuable as well. So, do you have any closing remarks?
I just want to say thank you so much, Alphen. Alphen is one of the most dedicated, client relationship centric women I've met. Super savvy, career changer over here who is going to continue to make a splash in the Reno market into 2025. And I hope that you all have an opportunity to connect with her. She's been a great addition to my board of directors, my network. And again, thank you so much for having me today. I appreciate it.
Of course, and I'm excited to keep bringing you on. Like I tell everybody, anyone that I bring on to my live, I want to schedule in every couple weeks or so to kind of follow into your journey and kind of pick your brain a little bit more and dive deeper into your industry. So I'm
Mhm.
so excited to have you. I'm so excited to build this relationship, and yeah, follow Maddie over here for anyone that's going to be tuning in later. I have this QR code and it goes straight to Maddie's website, and she's here on
Thank
Facebook
you.
and also on LinkedIn. All right, and I hope everyone
Absolutely.
has a great day today. Have a great